Getting ready to go in about an hour or so before kickoff. Poor dog got the cotton balls.
So we're right there.
Here.
We're right there.
Like downtown. Yeah. So
Yeah, because like we were right where
On Main Street.
I'm like, I gotta stand up.
Hello. Welcome to the Core Dog Experience. Here, talk Ohio State, college sports, and everything in between. You know how I do it. For those that have peeped me before, thank you for coming back. Thank you for bringing in the new year, 2026. Oh man, it's not how I wanted my first one to go down. But before I get into all of that, though, please hit that like and subscribe button. Again, if you're feeling me for the first time, please check out some of my other stuff. Hit that likes button, hit that subscribe button. Help a brother grow this thing out. Going to get into the game, but first of all, as you all can see, I was actually at the game. Got opportunity to go to the game. Compliments of my cousin, who's a Ohio State alum. She hooked a brother up, got me out to Dallas, got me to see the game. So first and foremost, just very appreciative of that. So we gonna break it down. Break this game down. I'm gonna do it in three segments. Three segments here: the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, as I just mentioned, I was at the game. Got to spend some time with my family, my cousin out there who resides in Dallas. Got us some tickets to go to the game. Got to see some of the city. My first time in Dallas, where I wasn't just driving, going through. You know, my previous visit to Texas has been for me going to someplace else. Texas just happened to be part of the freeway as I was going from one destination to the other. So I got to spend a little bit of time in Dallas, got to see a little bit of the city, beautiful city. So again, that was the good. First and foremost, got to hang out with my family first. Again, thanks to my cousin for making all that happen. The bad. Oh, the game itself ruined my New Year's. Ruined my New Year. Brother did not even feel like bringing it in the way you're supposed to bring in the New Year. We didn't bring it in the way we wanted to. So that was the bad. Just ruined my New Year's. The loss, Ohio State losing to Miami ruined the New Year. So that was the bad. Plain and simple. That was the bad. The ugly. It was ugly. The ugly was how we lost. That was the ugly part of. That was the ugly part, and that's what I'm gonna focus on here. Allows just the ugly. Ohio State looked ugly. The game was ugly. Everything about it was ugly. Like I said, I was at the game. Ain't gonna break down a lot of stats for you folks. Because I was there. I seen it with my own eyes what went down. I see it with my own two eyes how it played out, what went down. And you don't need a lot of stats. We know the gist of how that game went. Oh, before I get into the game and my little bit of a stuff on the game, my prediction going into the game was Ohio State 27, Miami 17. That's how I thought it was going to go down. I thought Ohio State was going to be the team to break the bye week curse. It wasn't to be. I have a whole nother thing about the bye week, but you heard going to try to focus on my Buckeyes. But I thought they were going to be the team to break the curse. It wasn't to be. Bye week teams as it stands now are 1-7. 1-7. Indiana actually played like a team coming off a bye, that's what you're supposed to do coming off a bye week against your opponent, because they blew out Alabama, who shouldn't have been it anyway. We ain't gonna get into all of that. But 1-7 teams with bye weeks that's where we stand at now with this stuff. But I thought Ohio State was going to be the team to break that curse. 27-17 was my prediction for this game. Didn't play out that way, obviously, but heading into the game after following the A&M Miami game, I was telling family and friends I would have preferred to play Texas A&M, and I know some of y'all peeped this, so just confirm that I told y'all before the game I would have preferred to play Texas A&M rather than Miami. And I think it's obvious. Their defensive line was, I think, showed the deficiency of what has plagued Ohio State all year long. But it was their defensive line and our offensive line matchup is what concerned me about the game going into it. Even though I still thought we would win, but I thought we would have had an easier time with Texas A&M. So I didn't think it was a favorable matchup for our offensive line, and that turned out to be the case for much of the game. I just would have preferred to play Texas A&M, but we didn't. We had Miami. Still thought we should have won the game. We could have won the game. Still thought we were the better team, but it just wasn't to be. The issues with Ohio State that folks have discussed all year long played out in this game to. It just played out to where everything thought we could happen, given our deficiencies happen. Our O-line did not look good against that defensive line and that pass rush, and our special teams. The two things we've complained about all year that many folks have said would be the downfall of Ohio State all year played out in this game. The offensive line and the special teams. But to me, that's not even the ugliest part of the game. The ugly is how our defense did not show up. Is the better way to say it. The run defense in particular. The run defense was very, very disappointing, to say the least. I can handle getting owned in the trenches to a degree, their defensive line or their offensive line. What I did not expect was them to be able to run the ball against our defense the way Miami was able to run the ball. That was, to me, was the most disappointing, the most ugliest part of the game, is the way Miami was able to run the ball throughout the course of the game. And we couldn't stop them on a consistent basis. I think when Miami had one, maybe two punts that I can recall. So I ain't got stats in front of me, so I'm just brain memory. How many times did Miami punt? Our defense, we got the turnover that stalled or slowed down Miami's offensive stuff there. But how many times did Miami actually punt? I think once, twice, maybe. I know it wasn't no more than three. So, and again, the kudos to Miami. Their offensive line played excellent. One of the glaring things right there, watching it real time, they got pressure almost on every drop back Julian Sayin tried to do. Ohio State could not generate hardly any pressure against Carson Beck, and I thought that was a real key or a real advantage for Miami, because just the first snap of the game, you knew it was going to be a rough day for Julian. That's like, yep. They don't fix that. It's going to be a long day offensively if they can't keep Julian upright, and that turned out to be the case. Miami was able to get pressure almost on every critical down. They were able to get the pressure, force Julian into bad throws, and you knew it was going to be a rough game based on that first series for Ohio State, where they got in the backfield almost right away. So again, bad matchup played out on the very first series when Ohio State was on offense, and Miami did their thing. They came to play. I don't know if you can put all of that on the bye week, but I don't care. Miami looked sharper. They looked better. They executed better in critical situations. Any advantage throughout that game tilted towards Miami, and it just played out. The only one time Ohio State looked like they was in the game was in the third quarter when they made their little bit of comeback, but could not sustain it because of the defense not being able to stop the run. That's what it came down to. We couldn't stop the run when they needed to, when we needed to, and Miami made all the plays at the right time, the critical situations. They made the plays that they needed to play, needed to. So, Miami goes up 7-0. We get to play the big play to Jeremiah, and we're sitting in the stands. The Buckeye fans. I had a Miami person sitting next to me, so he was cool though. But yeah, so Jeremiah gets the big play, and we're thinking, all right, here we go. We get right back into it. That's one thing Ohio State has been able to do for the course of the year. Anytime a team scored, normally Ohio State comes back and scores right back. Scores right away to mitigate the damage, so to speak, but not this time. Drop back, and they did the play because we couldn't run the ball. It's another thing, we couldn't run the ball, so they do the thing to the flat there, and Miami picks it off untouched. 14-point swing around. That interception was just it was a killer. It was a killer 14-point swing around, turn around, and before you know it, Ohio State's looking up at a 14-0 deficit. Terrible. And we're just like shaking our heads, like, what is going on here? It was a killer. It was a killer. That interception was. But as bad as the interception was, and it was gut-wrenching, it was terrible, I did not think that was the play that ultimately downed Ohio State. And you guys know where I'm going with this. That missed field goal to me was the killer. In going into the second quarter, going into halftime, that missed field goal, all of us where I was sitting, we're like, we gotta score. If we can't score, we got to get closer, because nobody thought he was going to make that field goal. Was it 43 yards? Not no one thought he was going to make the field goal. As soon as fourth down hit, everyone said we're going in 14-0 at half. No one had any confidence that he was going to make that field goal, and sure enough, he did not make that field goal. And to me, that was a killer to me. It was, because Ohio State, they made their run in the second half. Had he made that field goal when Ohio State scored there in that third quarter to get 14, it would have been 17-17 tie, and who knows what scenario would have played out at that point. But the fact that we were still down after pretty much having a really good third quarter, and we still look up and we're still down 3 points, to me, that was just that field goal just destroyed everything. And just because Ohio State, you needed the points because they could not move the ball consistently against that defense. And that field goal, to me, like I said, as terrible as that interception was, Ohio State bounced back, and they still found themselves down because of that missed field goal. Again, had one last opportunity when they got the ball back down 17-14, and again, they got near midfield, and again, Miami's defense made the plays they needed to make, forced Julian Sand into either they're sacking him or they're pressuring the hell out of him, because our offensive line just could not block those guys. And again, like Ruben Bain, and I can't pronounce the other dude's name, but they were in the backfield. They were in the backfield a lot during that game, and that's why that missed field. To me, that was the killer. That was almost, the interception was bad. To me, that missed field goal was just as worse, if not worse, than that interception was, because I thought we had bounced back, played our way back, and we still looked up and saw ourselves down by 3 points because your boy cannot make a field goal. Why he was still kicking, which you're going to get in the Ryan Day a little bit, but yeah. Going into the game, that's why the defense had disappointed me, because I thought if we could have made Miami one-dimensional, take away the run, make them rely on Carson Beck and not Mark, or what Fletcher, I think is Mark, not rely on the running back and Fletcher. If we had to make Carson Beck win the game, I was comfortable with that. Because I don't think a lot of, there's probably a few Miami fans that aren't totally comfortable with Carson Beck dropping the drop back time and time again to throw the ball. Because your boy going to throw an interception if he's forced to do that. And I was hoping Ohio State would be able to force them to make it that type of game where Carson Beck would have to win the game and not rely on the running backs to do it. But we couldn't stop Fletcher at all. Fletcher, he had him a game. Like I said, I don't have the stats in front of me. I saw it in real time. Every time they needed a big run, Fletcher got them a run. And it wasn't more apparent in that fourth quarter when they needed to run out the clock. First down, if we stop them on their first down play, Ohio State has a chance to get the ball back for about, 6 something minutes to go. And what does Fletcher do? Goes off the left side for a good 15, 20-yard gain. I was like, are you kidding me? The one time you know they're going to run the ball, y'all let them break off a big-ass run. To me, that was the ugliest part of the game, was the performance of our defensive line. Did they call Arvell Reese? I don't know how many tackles he had. But our D-line, I said, kudos to Miami's offensive line. They did their job. And here's the one thing about Carson Beck. I said if we could have made him have to be an actual quarterback and throw the ball some and put the game in his hands, I was comfortable with that, because I think he's prone to interceptions when he's forced to do that. But the thing I will give him credit for is he ran the ball when he needed to run the ball and pick up first downs, get crucial yards. He did what he needed to do to win the game. Julian Sand, on the other hand, I don't know what it is with some of our Ohio State quarterbacks that just refuse to run the ball when there's nothing but green in front of them. Like I said, sitting in the stands, second quarter, Ohio State's driving down. Again, even the Miami fans said, what play was that? We had to end up settle for the field goal. It was 15, 20 yards of green in front of Julian Sand, and he throws the ball, incomplete pass. Instead, if he just would have took off and run, the Miami guy looked at me and goes, why didn't he run the ball? I was like, dude, I don't freaking know why he didn't run the ball and get him a 10, 15 yards. If anything, to make the field goal less long, because we know our kicker sucks. You run the ball, you take the yardage that the defense gives you. Carson Beck did that again and again and again to keep drives going. Julian Sand did not at all. I don't get it with these Ohio State quarterbacks that refuse to run the ball. Because you look at the history when Ohio State has won the championship, our quarterbacks have run the ball. Go back to Tressel ball, Craig Krenzel. What did Krenzel do? Krenzel would run the ball, get those gritty yards when he needed to. Craig Krenzel, ask Miami. Krenzel started it all against Miami. He ran the ball when he needed to run the ball and get the yards he needed to pick up. You can't get all the yards every time throwing the ball. Sometimes you're gonna have to use your damn legs. Krenzel did it. We got a national championship. J.T. Barrett, Braxton Miller era. They go down what does Cardale Jones do? Comes in, he runs the ball when he has, not known as a runner, but Cardale Jones was bowling people over, Alabama-Oregon game. He ran the ball when he had to run the ball. National championship. Run the ball when you have to run the ball. Justin Fields probably would have had one, if not getting jacked up and messed up in the Clemson games, but, he ran the ball. C.J. Stroud, for all the stuff he did not do, he told you he wasn't going to run the ball, but the one game he did run the ball in the Georgia game, put us in position to win because he ran the ball, took the yards that was there. Will Howard last championship, he ran the ball when he needed to run the ball. Julian Sand he did not run the ball. I ain't gonna say it cost us a championship, but damn it, it sure didn't help none. He sure didn't help his case any by not running the ball when the yards are there, because he had opportunities throughout the game to run the ball and get some crucial yards, some crucial first downs instead of settling for field goals. Because we know the history of our field goal kickers sucks. It sucks. We had to settle for a field goal, and like I said, everyone knew he was gonna miss it. 40-some yards. No one thought he was gonna make that field goal at the end of the second quarter, and sure enough, he missed it. I don't know what it's gonna take for Ohio State to finally get them a field goal kicker, which brings me back to circle back around to Ryan Day and some of his decisions heading into this. Because he took over the play calling, but we're gonna talk some about the play calling stuff. But sticking with the kicker, going back to the kicker here. After the Indiana game, Ryan Day said, we're going to stick with the kicker. Yeah, I'm going on about the kicker because this has just been an ongoing problem, because I started thinking, when is the last time Ohio State had a really good, reliable kicker? And the only name that comes to the top of my head was Mike Nugent. If someone out there, I ain't going to even ask you, I had to Google this stuff myself, because I was like, we have not had a good kicker since Mike Nugent. Are you freaking kidding me? We got Mike Nugent, who hasn't played at Ohio State since 2004. We haven't had a good kicker since then. So I said, am I kidding myself here? A brother looked this up. When's the last time Ohio State sent a kicker to the NFL whose name was not Mike Nugent? And as you see here, to date, there's no been Ohio State kicker in the NFL since Mike Nugent. Freaking unbelievable. I mean, all the resources and all the stuff we got at Ohio State, we can't get us one damn decent kicker for the life of us. And this shit should have been addressed after the Georgia game when he missed that field goal so badly. Cost us a chance at the national champions. You think they would have made field goal kicking a higher priority going back to that game? And then going back last year's Michigan game when he missed twice. Not last year. The Michigan game where he missed twice and cost us the game. We thought they would address the kicker in the portal at that time, but nope. They stuck with him. They brought in another kicker. He must have been sorry too, because not at no point in time did they ever trot him out there during the course of the year to see if he could make a freaking field goal. And by the way, that kicker's transferring too, so I guess he was that bad. I don't know. I do not know, but we have not had a good kicker since 2004 that was worth a damn at Ohio State. And that's just unbelievable to me that we cannot get a kicker here. It should have been addressed, and you could hear the groan when Ryan Day said he was going to stick with fielding. And it played out. To me, that missed field goal was just as bad, if not worse, than the interception. So that's my first issue with Ryan Day heading into this game. Not doing anything, addressing the kicker, either during the course of the season or after the game. I'm assuming they had some type of kicker contest and fielding won it. Again, what's that saying about your portal stuff and what you're doing in that area? And then him assuming the play calling, again, I thought was just bad. And some folks liked it, some folks didn't. I'm in the camp that didn't. I know Brian Hartline didn't have the greatest of game play calling against Indiana, but I would have stuck with him. It's just something about the rhythm there. They get used to that. They get used to a pattern, and Ryan Day coming in all of a sudden. To me, I thought that was still bad. A lot of folks brought up that Georgia game. Well, the last time Ryan Day called plays, he put up 41 on Georgia. Fine, but my argument would be, some of Ryan Day's play calling, clock management in that game cost us that game, and we had to settle for a 50-something yard field goal that our guy missed badly. So I wasn't one of the ones in the camp that was thrilled when Ryan Day assumed the play calling. I would have stuck with Brian Hartline. Dude had a bad game against Indiana. When you're not a mulligan comeback, I personally would have stuck with Brian Hartline and let him finish out I'll let Chip Kelly and just let him finish it out. I would not have. I wasn't a fan of Ryan Day calling plays. I'll just leave it at that. I will leave it at that. But Miami came to play. I don't care if it was a bye week or not. Miami came to play, and I would have preferred Texas A&M. I would have been a home game for Texas A&M. I was like, it don't matter. It don't matter. We should still win, but I would have preferred Texas A&M. But in the stuff that I was worried about, especially with our offensive line, came to fruition. And like I said, kudos to Miami. They played a hell of a game. And again, like I said, the ugliest part of that game was the defensive line. Because the offensive line, we knew it was suspect. The special teams kicking game, we knew that was suspect. The one thing we were confident about was our defensive line. And that, to me, was the ugliest part of this game, our defensive line not being able to hold up in the running game. And that's all hats off to Miami. So I ain't got nothing praise for them and credit to them for what they did in that game. They earned a win. They deserved it. Long overdue. Long overdue. They have because Miami they relevant again, y'all. guys know I had to bring it up. They ain't been relevant since 2002. Talking about Craig Krenzel. Craig Krenzel, Maurice Clarett, Jim Tressel. Yeah, we broke Miami back then. Miami ain't been right since this year. Oh, yeah, Miami has not been right in a very long time, and you can look back to that game where Craig Krenzel, Maurice Clarett, Jim Tressel, Pitt won on Miami, and they're relevant again. We broke. Miami was broke for a long time. They were broke for a long time, and that was because of Ohio State. So, but kudos to them. They're off to play Ole Miss, so I'm not a fan of the SEC. For those that have checked me out over the course of time, they know I'm not a fan of the SEC. So, pulling for Miami. If I'm pulling for anyone, I'm pulling for Miami. But ultimately, I don't think Ole Miss or Miami is going to beat the Big Ten. You either be Oregon or Indiana. I don't see it. You got two hungry programs. Oregon's trying to prove last year was a fluke, and Indiana they just like Kirk Cignetti. Got to take cast off to Kirk Cignetti because he don't give a damn. Everyone still trying to doubt Indiana and this, that, and the other. But who are the teams that give Indiana the hardest time this year? Other Big Ten schools, whether it be Penn State, Iowa, Oregon, Ohio State. Everybody else, Indiana has blown out. They have blown out. Again, Alabama, who I shouldn't have thought been in the playoffs. For all the folks that got on me about my last Notre Dame post, I said Notre Dame should have been over Alabama. Just want to throw that out there as well. But I don't think anyone's beating the Big Ten, whether it be Miami or Ole Miss. But we will see. I think Big Ten is going to go 3 years in a row for a third different team. So, again, if that happens, can we stop with the SEC bias? I don't think they should have got 5 teams in anyway, but that's a different story for a different day. This day belongs to Miami and Ohio State. Y'all got some work to do. Speaking of Miami's 20-plus year hiatus, I hope this does not happen to Ohio State. Hope they are able to bounce back rather quickly from this loss. They got a lot of talent coming back, so they got some work to do. They got to figure out the offensive line. They got to get them a kicker. They got to get them a kicker. But other than that, again, great time in Dallas. Great time spending, hanging out with my cousin. It was just a great experience in terms of that. Game aside, everything else was great in Dallas. Beautiful city, and we looking to get back there. But hey, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.